Thanks for checking out this video.
My little niece worships these guys who do and say nothing
Yo, why is my existence so lit?
and promote a lifestyle of doing and saying nothing.
So Link's story in this movie is sort of interesting because, like, even from the trailer, people, you're like, you think you know this guy's story. Like, oh, he's a young guy, he's an influencer, he's making these videos. And then what we see in the movie is that there's a lot more going on there. He's, not to say too much, but there's more than just that. Where do you think, like, Link is sort of in his life, and like where do you think he sort of came from?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's I think it's meant to be mysterious. He's meant to be this kind of mysterious kind of vagabond wandering the earth kind of aimlessly and kind of off the grid, which I like, and then he gets seduced into the kind of the power of the social media world, and when he realizes that he can have influence and get fed almost like a vampire from the energy of people like liking what he's doing and subscribing to what he's doing. So for me, it's more important that he's just trying to keep a life of purity, and then he gets kind of corrupted. That's kind of interesting for me. And also keeping his backstory kind of mysterious was what Gia, the filmmaker, really wanted to do. She really wanted to keep it so that you can't get a handle on who he was or where he came from, which makes him kind of more of a mythic kind of creature than a full person. So yeah, that was kind of exciting to play with.
Yeah, now that you say that, I mean, he really does seem like, why the fuck should I care about what these comments are saying? And then the instant he sees, like, oh, I said let's go here, and people came here, like you can sort of see the switch flip for him.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's seductive. I think what these platforms promise is some form of negative or positive feedback, and either one can be addictive in terms of someone who equates attention with love, I suppose.
I want to talk about Hollywood in the movie, and I don't mean like Hollywood in general. I mean sort of Hollywood specifically, like Hollywood and Ivar, like the grit of it. Yeah. Like, that's, a very interesting sort of setting. Like, why do you think that Gia sort of chose to like centralize the movie there versus like Venice or, wherever?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. And it's a good question for Gia. She loves it. She just loves Hollywood as a place, like again, not as metaphor, but literal. Like she's lived around that neighborhood a lot of her life, and she finds it to be really creatively interesting and beguiling and comforting in a way that I don't think many people do. So that's a really interesting perspective that she has on the whole thing. And yeah, this film is definitely her, I don't know, it comes from her heart and her guts. And it was a really wonderful thing that I got to be able to support her as a friend.
A lot of people, have compared your character or they see the trailer and they're like, oh, that's like Jake and Logan Paul, whatever. And then Jake is actually in the movie along with a bunch of other influencers like Patrick Starr and a number of different people. Can you talk about filming that scene and like how into like the meta-ness or whatever that they all got?
Yeah, it was really fun. They got given half of the script for that scene, and the second half was improvised because we wanted to get full responses from them for the events that unfold that were kind of spontaneous and kind of instinctive on their part. So yeah, it was really fun. And on the day there was no unprofessionalism. Everyone was very professional. Everyone showed up. They did their job. They were very patient with us in how we were filming the scene, and it was a long day, and everyone was very, very egoless and present, and I think we all were very kind of taken aback and very, very, very pleasantly like surprised and happy that everyone was just there serving. These are people that make constant content, so they know how boring the process can be of making a film, and they were so game and so up for it, and I was just very, very kind of like, yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, it's that's the problem with social media, and for me in certain ways is that it's very, very hard to get a sense of who someone really is unless you're in you're in the room with them, and that's the same for anyone. And I think it's very, very easy to create a kind of binary opinion on someone from what they present in terms of persona in a two-dimensional world compared to if you get into a room. So I'm always just so excited to be in a room with people.
That's funny that you said it, because I have twin toddlers, and that's why I'm in my bedroom. And my friend who lives in Florida yesterday was like, "How are your kids?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're making us crazy. Like it's 100 tantrums a day, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "I wouldn't know any of that from Instagram." It's just like,
yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, because I'm not like taking a picture of them.
Yeah.
Like while we're at Home Depot or whatever, like, and they're on the ground, like
yeah.
we all have this perception of like what people's lives are like, especially during the pandemic when you're not even like close to someone.
Right. Yeah. It's changing our psyches. It's altering our the synapses. It's changing how we perceive ourselves, and it's changing how we feel like we need to present ourselves. And there are definitely some things about social media that are not all that maybe great for us as human beings wanting to have a deep experience of being alive.
Yeah, I mean, that was one other question I have, was like, is social media inherently destructive? Because I mean, there is some positivity there. Like, it's amazing that I can have a pen pal or whatever in India that I Skype with every day or whatever.
Yeah.
But like beyond that, it's also some of the ways that it's destructive are couched in like our own, like if I have issues with self-worth, like being on social media is not going to help that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And who doesn't have issues with self-worth?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of everyone in the world. That aspect of ourselves is going to get exacerbated, and it's going to get it's going to have an even greater lens kind of put on it for ourselves. And it's what we feed grows. So for me, not participating, because life's hard enough, it's hard enough to live in a culture that is dead set on you being anything but who you truly are. So for me, it's not something that I'm able to participate in because of that very reason.
Well, I was going to ask about that, because you're not on social media. Like, was there any learning curve? Like, did someone have to go, "This is Patrick Star, and here's what Patrick Star does"? You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. No, because I love research, and I love. It was really fun to have like a controlled deep dive into that world, and to learn and to see, in all ways, like the creativity, the constant making of videos, and the different routes that different creators can take. And I found it really inspiring that that people have found an outlet for that constant creativity, and slightly alarming because of the pressure to create constantly. But I found it really, like, to have an excuse to indulge and dive into that world and understand that world was really, I don't know. I jumped at it. I loved it.
It's interesting how that kind of creating too is affecting now even mainstream. Like in this movie, when there's a scene where she throws up, and then you don't see vomit, you see like emojis. Or there's this new movie on Netflix called The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is sort of about like a YouTube creator. It's like like she's a teen. It's an animated movie.
Oh, cool.
But that has like a lot of elements. It's very good. But
Nice.
I love how it's sort of like all sort of influencing each other now. It's just really great.
Yeah, I mean, it's culture, so it can't be ignored.
Hey, myself. I'm no one special.
Cut. That was great.